The St. John's Country Day Spartans are heading to the Final Four for the first time in school history in baseball. It's a pleasure to welcome on their head coach, Tom Lucas, after a 4-0 win to send them on to the state championship semifinals. And Tom joins us right now. Coach, congratulations. And what does it feel like to go to that Final Four?
Feels like I got a huge monkey off my back. I appreciate that.
First one in school history. I mean, that's pretty meaningful for St. John's Country Day.
Yeah, I've been here. School's founded in 1953, so a long time. We've been chasing to get to the Final Four. We've been known as a girls' soccer school. You know, they've won the last 10 state titles. I think they've won 13 overall. And so for us to get to the Final Four this year is something that we've been chasing since my staff came in.
Tom, you guys won 4-0 the other night over a really good North Florida Christian team. They're a really good school in terms of a lot of sports, but baseball in particular. That's a team that you run into a lot, don't you?
Yeah, they've been the top dog in our region for decades. Their head coach, Mike Posey's been there for 38 years. They've had numerous first-round draft picks. They've knocked us out of the playoffs the last 2 times. And they run ruled us in both of those. So they definitely have been the standard in 2, 3A, whatever classification we've been in. They've been the team in this region, in the Region 1, that you've had to kind of measure your success over.
Do you feel like, hey, once we get through NFC, then we've got a real shot to go on and possibly win a title?
I mean, I think everybody's got a shot. I mean, when you get down to 4 teams are remaining, everybody's good. I mean, they're not giving away rings, is what we keep telling these players. So the farther you go into this, everybody that takes the field with you, it can win. So they're very capable teams. The 4 teams that are on here all have plus 20 wins on the season. They've all beat really good teams. They've all got committed players and really good players and really good coaching staffs. So it's really going to come down to execution. We're not going to go out there and intimidate anybody. We're going to have to go out there and play really good baseball.
Going back to Saturday night, 4-0 the final. Connor Moore hits a big 2-run homer. Your 2 pitchers, Bradley Hodges and Finn Howell, really shut them out. Speak about their performances from Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, Connor does what Connor's been doing for us since he got on campus 3 years ago. The big moments, he tends to step up. He feasts on those opportunities. You know, it was a 1-0 game. You kind of felt like, you know, probably 3 runs would win the game. That was our goal going into it, is to try to get to 3, and we felt like our pitching staff could hold them. And, you know, Connor, you know, hit a fastball really hard and got it out. Probably, you know, doesn't surprise anybody. That's his 10th of the season. A kid who's committed and signed to go to Florida State. You know, he'll be playing Division I baseball next year. So, you know, he's got a lot of skill, but he's got ice in his veins. You know, it just doesn't seem like whoever's on the mound, no matter how hard they throw, he's got the capability of taking it deep. And then Brad and Finn, I mean, those are our number 1 and number 2 pitchers. Brad wasn't, you know, really sharp for Brad. I mean, because, you know, he's got a possibility of getting drafted next year. And his command was a little off, but he's a left-handed pitcher who throws the ball 91 miles an hour, committed to Virginia. And he really needed just 1 pitch to go through their lineup. I mean, was kind of struggling with changeups and curveballs. And so really just kind of featured fastball, and they kind of knew it was coming, and, you know, they struggled to hit it. And Finn's just been lights out all year. I mean, he's just been a very dominant pitcher for us on the mound, a UNF commit that is a junior right now, that just throws 3 pitches for strikes, and he can throw them anywhere that he's called or asked to throw them.
When you guys were going through this game and Connor hit that home run, did you have a feeling at that point, okay, we can probably handle this from now on after that home run?
You try not to as a head coach. You know, if I'm going to give you the honest coach speak,
right.
I mean, that's what I'm supposed to tell you in this interview, but I thought the game was over at that point. I had been telling everybody I didn't think they could score 3 on our pitching staff. They had 2 guys that we had kind of circled, that we had a certain plan that we were going to pitch them and weren't going to give in. And if they ended up walking or something like that, it was going to be fine. You know, we don't have the biggest park. And so we get some of these guys who come in that are big. You just kind of be careful, you know, because you just don't want to give up any, you know, home runs. But after where we were in that point in the game, I mean, I said to myself it was over. I didn't think they were going to score unless we gave up a home run or something cheap.
Coach, I felt like watching that game, the defense was very exemplary. I mean, both teams, ground balls were getting gobbled up and fly balls were getting caught. I mean, it was very good defense, I felt, during that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we have preached since we've been here for 7 years. I've got 2 assistant coaches, Jordan Rooks and Keith Daniel, who came in with me that very first year. And that was our primary focus is 21 outs. That's the goal, is to get 21 outs. And Keith Daniel does an amazing job working with the infielders. Jordan Rooks works with the outfielders. And I mean, that we just tell them, when the ball is put in play, we've got to go get that baseball and get an out somewhere. And so, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Conor made 2 great plays at shortstop. Tyson Moore made a great play. Luke Shanahan goes and catches a foul ball over the fence down the right field line, and then makes a great play, a little chopper, and flips it to Brad, who was covering the bag. And that's just some fundamental stuff that, we preach every time the ball's hit and, to the right side, everybody's yelling out, get over, and our pitcher is going to be at first base. And that's something that we work on every single day.
You mentioned Tyson Moore. Does he have the Justin Turner look going? Is that what he's going for?
Yeah, he does. I mean, I've heard he looks like he should be in Leonard Skinner. Justin Turner is a good comparison as well. He probably doesn't fit the mold of the rest of our team, but he's been a really good asset for us. Anchors down third base, hitting a 4, 5, 6 hole. Has been one of those guys who's got an on-base percentage of over 450, and then his fielding percentage is like 980 on the year.
Tom, I was there at the game Saturday, and I felt like the crowd was phenomenal. I mean, just the roar of the crowds after a strikeout, after Conors' home run. I was able to get some good video on that, and the crowd was fantastic. I know we've gone through and are, to an extent, are still going through this pandemic, and crowds have been suppressed and haven't seen as many people come out. Well, finally, we're starting to turn the corner with that thing, and now it was cool to see a lot of people come out.
It was, and I mean, we thank those, the fans, administration, the teachers and stuff up here at St. John's have just been a tremendous support for us, and the team, the coaches, the players have fed off of that. And yeah, Saturday night was probably his most packed game that we've had. I saw people that I haven't seen in years that I coached, a decade ago. So to see them come back and that was pretty cool. And we had a lot of former players that were on hand because we've been preaching this. This was, we didn't come in here and say we just want to be an average baseball team. And we started immediately talking about Final Fours in year 1, even though we only won 5 games that year. In year 2, I mean, we were playing anybody and everybody that we could. I mean, we were already scheduling, if you wanted to play us, we were going to play. And so, I mean, and I think those area coaches that kind of helped, that didn't say, St. John's is this little startup, baseball team that's trying to, become a baseball power. We're not going to play them. The Creeksides and the Bartrams and the Flemings and the Clays and Oakleafs. And, they immediately started playing us. So that helped us, to be able to see what good baseball was like and for our players to see it. And so these former players, they come back and say, man, coach was preaching this, when we were terrible, he was preaching us that, the goal was to get to the Final Four, and to see it finally accomplished was pretty exciting.
Tom, is this the best collection of talent that you've ever had as a head coach?
Yeah, by far. And it's not even close. I mean, last year we were just as good. We had the same squad, except we had a senior third baseman, Jack Hodges, who had played since he was a 7th grader. But we returned everybody else. So you take a really elite team last year, and then you give them an extra year of weight room, skill development. And then plus you add on the fact of they got the rug pulled out from underneath them. So they got a bitter taste in their mouth, and they're coming out here every day, busting their tails. This is by far not even close the best high school baseball team I've ever been around.
Well, and you see up and down your lineup, you got guys going to college everywhere, and then even underclassmen that are potentially going to college as well. It's just a very well-rounded unit.
Yeah, no, that's the buy-in that we have. We've got my JV team could beat a lot of these teams that we're playing. I mean, I've got some kids that are 2023 grads and 2024 grads that they've bought into this program. They haven't transferred out because they're not starting, and they might only get an inning or 2. I mean, we've got some kids that they're D1 players, and they're sitting behind guys right now, and they're learning, and they're just taking opportunities that they can get. But yeah, I mean, we're deep, and we tell people that all the time. We can win a 1-0 game, because we've got the pitching and defense to do that. But, if we start giving up some runs, we can also win a 10-9 baseball game because our lineup is so deep.
Tom, as you know, the talent and the expectation is always going to be there, but to be able to go out and actually do it, that's another part of it too. I mean, you can have all the talent in the world, you can have the expectations, but you guys have now won 12 in a row. You're going to the semifinals of state, and you're right there, man. You're right there.
Yeah, we're right there, and we're preaching the same thing. I mean, is they don't need to do anything extra. I mean, I think that's what gets a lot of people in trouble, is they think the bigger the game is, the more special I have to be, or I've got to try to hit it a little bit further. I got to try to throw a little bit harder. We're very talented, and that's what we preach to them every time. When you step on the baseball field, there's nobody that's better than you. They might be as good as you, but they're not better than you. All you need to do is, do your job. Come out here, and if we play as normal as possible, we're going to be very successful. And we really just preach small things. We're not preaching results. We're preaching quality at bats, throw strikes, defensive plays, working counts, fouling off pitches when you get, down to 2 strikes. And if we do those little things, we think the scoreboard's going to take care of itself.
Are you guys leaving this afternoon? When are you leaving?
We're about to take BP here at 10:30 in 10 minutes. And then the guys will eat, and then the school's got a charter bus coming in. They'll send us off with a police escort at 12:30. So we're really excited. Yeah.
That police charter, man, that's pretty cool. The police escort on the chart, that's pretty awesome. The quick turnaround, man, how much does that play a factor? You guys are also going to play at 10 a.m.
Yeah, the quick turnaround is going to affect everybody equally. I think most teams had to throw their number 1 pitcher on Saturday, so those guys aren't eligible. So I think when everybody gets down there, they're going to be throwing their number 2 or number 3 pitcher. And so that's just, that's the way the tournament was laid out. And so we'll play with what we've got. But you'd like to go in fully rested and loaded up, as some of the classifications are. It's just the way that it fell this year for 1A and 2A, that we've only got 3 days rest after only having 2 days rest to get ready for a regional final. So that it is what it is. I mean, it's next man up. We think that favors us because we're so deep, but Brad Hodges won't be eligible to pitch tomorrow. So, he's a guy you'd love to have go in the first game of a 2-day event, but he's not even eligible to take the mound. So that is what it is. So we'll just go and see what we can do.
Most of your games are in the afternoon and evening. What is it going to be like to play at 10 a.m.?
Really, I don't think it's going to be any different for our guys because we set the schedule. We played a crazy tough schedule. We've been on the road a lot. We have not played a lot of home games on purpose because our ultimate goal was to play in a big stadium. So we tried to play in a lot of big stadiums away from here. So we've played 2 events. We went up to Georgia, played up there in the Brunswick tournament, and we as a matter of fact, one of our games started at 10 a.m. Then we went down to IMG Academy, and we played a spring break tournament there. And again, we had to get up and get to the field and play like 11 a.m. tournament game. So that's one of the things we'll preach today. Is this is not something. It might be new to the other teams, but we've done this at least twice this year.
Tell us about Mount Dora Christian Academy, the team you'll play.
Yeah, I mean, Mount Dora is a well-coached team. They've got a couple committed players. They look like a younger ball club. Some of their best players are 2023 and 2024 grads. But they've got, I think they've got the same record as us, 22, 23 wins. They've got a really good pitching staff that looks like they throw a bunch of strikes. They've hit more home runs than us. So it looks like they've got some power. They've got 2 left-handed guys at the beginning of their lineup that both have double-digit home runs. So, I mean, it's, we're got a tall task in front of us that we're going to have to go out and play really good baseball.
I'm not asking you to reveal anything. Have you decided on who you'll throw against them?
Yeah, we're going to start Finn Howell. We'll start on the mound. He's been our, number 1, number 2 guy between him and Brad. So he'll start, but we've got everybody ready. I mean, you play back-to-back games on short rest. We pretty much have gotten our entire staff ready to go. So, I mean, couldn't see a lot of different arms.
Now, Bradley will be able to hit, right? Just not pitch.
Yeah, Bradley will be able to hit. He'll start in left field. He'll be able to bat. He just will not be able to pitch. So
Okay.
hopefully we can figure out a way to win this game. And then it's a pretty good option when you go to the state title that you can run a left-handed Virginia commit onto the mound for the state title game.
For sure. Last moment or two, I know you got BP coming up here in a few minutes. What's it like to have Fleming Island also the very same night right across the way there from you guys, also to go on to the Final Four? I mean, Clay County baseball has really proven to be pretty strong.
Yeah, Clay County, Northeast Florida baseball has always been really strong. I'm a guy who grew up, born and raised here in Jacksonville, played baseball in the 80s when it was, some of the best baseball in the country. But to see Fleming, who's in Clay County, 3 miles from my school, to also go to a Final Four is pretty special. There's a lot of players over there that I love, that I've been around and coached, or either coached against. And then Grant Biglin and me, we're really good friends. We're actually assistant coaches together over the summer for the same summer team. So we text and talk a bunch. So I've been rooting for those guys really hard, as well as the other. You got Pontevedra, Bowles. I'm really good friends with Mike Boswell. So I'll be rooting for them in the regional final as well.
And
Hoping we can
Baker
bring
County,
home a handful of state titles to Northeast Florida.
I know. I hope so too. And then, of course, you got Baker County. I think it's still alive too.
Yeah.
So there's just so much talent. It's incredible to see. It's awesome. It really is. Final few moments here. What's the message going to be to your guys when you talk to them today or before the game tomorrow? What's this message going to be from you?
Yeah, we're not going to do anything special. I mean, we're really going to do the same thing that we do just about every time, and just try to keep these guys as normal as possible, keep them relaxed and loose. So we'll just take our normal BP, and then just try to alleviate some of the pressure and the stress from them and try to keep them loose is really our job. We've been kind of preaching, they've already accomplished things this year that no other baseball team in St. John's history has ever done. We've talked about that. We've celebrated that, but now it's a business trip. We get on that bus today, and I think the celebration from Saturday was probably over, by Sunday morning. When they came back on campus yesterday, it was all work. I mean, we had a really good practice, and we're not looking back. We've got a mission, and we just feel like we've still got a job to do.
Tom Lucas, the head coach of St. John's Country Day. They're on their way to the Final Four for the first time in school history. They'll play Mount Dora Christian Academy tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. in Fort Myers, Florida. Coach Lucas, best of luck, man. I really mean that. Congratulations and best of luck.
Thank you, man. I appreciate everything you've been doing and supporting baseball in our area.